Thank you all so very much for joining this most recent edition of Trekkers Delight. We're so happy to have you all here with us. Before we get started, what I'm going to do, just to kind of ground us in what it is that we'll be talking about today, I want to show you all a short video. It's really just a recap of today's episode of Discovery. All right, let's go. Started 865-783.7, 29 hours before debris from the DMA starts hitting Navarre and Earth. Burnham decides to take Discovery to an abandoned planet that is near a sun with Dyson's rings around it. She is convinced that this planet will give them some insight into species 10C. Book and Tarka decide to follow Discovery by hitching a ride, but to do it, they need to attach manually. Species 10C must have lived in the gas layers of this planet. They beam down near a large bone after Saru senses something like an attack. Of course, no one else can sense it. Book still has misgivings about using Discovery, but they beam on board heading towards engineering. Rillick admonishes her linguistics officer for being a little bit too blunt when talking to the crew. Culber checks on Saru, who is legit freaking out, but when Culber touches Saru, he has a vision all of his own. Book decides to talk to Ndoye, who favors attacking the hyperfield. Burnham begins to see the hallucinations as well, but not Detmer. Burnham tells her that she must complete the mission above all else. Everyone else will retrace their steps. They learn the hydrocarbons are causing the hallucinations. With this knowledge, Detmer was able to recalibrate the EV suits. Detmer reminds Burnham of her PTSD and how she is able to compartmentalize information. Tarka causes malfunctions to get the engineering crew out of engineering. Book tricks Ndoye into meeting him to plead his case about ending the DMA. Ndoye makes Book promise that his plan is a backup plan only. Book agrees. They learn the beings prioritize life. Moreover, they learn how the beings communicate. And Burnham is convinced that this is the key to beginning dialogue with species 10C. Finally, Chief Engineer Tig catches Tarka in engineering.
So first off, I'm pretty sure it's Chief Engineer Jet Reno, who was playing Ignataro.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm honestly sure that she's literally just playing Tignataro in a Starfleet uniform. But,
Probably.
So this particular episode is titled Rosetta, as in the Rosetta Stone. And what we know about the Rosetta Stone is that basically it had three lingua francas of the time that helped travelers. It had hieroglyphs, it had Greek, it also had Egyptian Demotic on it. All right. So the understanding is that travelers of that particular time would be able or would be familiar with at least one of those three languages, and it would help them along their way. But for us, because we didn't know anything about hieroglyphs, what it did for us was it helped us understand their language, and not just their language, but also their culture. All right. So, and on a personal note, I am so excited that in this particular episode, they said hieroglyphs and not hieroglyphics. It's just one of those things that you learn, so it's hieroglyphs. So, and they use it correctly. I'm so excited. It's just one of those things. Okay.
it made your inner language nerd happy.
Yes. Speaking of, a long time ago, I learned how to read and write hieroglyphs.
Really?
I've forgotten it, but it doesn't take
It's a
long for me
basic
to learn
phonetic
it.
alphabet.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a basic phonetic alphabet. They're not.
really is.
They're
It's-
not
it's-
like
it's really simple.
kanji. They're not ideograms.
hmm So to me, this particular episode was about commonality. I know, it's very similar to a theme that we have going on, but commonality is what kind of rang for me. For instance, the emotions shared with species 10C, which are similar to human emotions. Also, Adira Tal's fascination with Detmer, and also book identifying commonality with Ndoye. Those were at least 3 different times in which there was at least a feeling of commonality between some of the characters that we saw in this particular episode.
And if I can just jump in for a second, Jermaine, it wasn't just species 10's emotions being similar to humans, but also to Saru's.
Mhm.
So their emotions translated cross species, which I think is an interesting point that they were trying to make in that particular segment. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all just keeps coming back to connection and creating and how communication creates that connection that brings us all together, which has been the overarching thematic structure of season 3, just from the jump. And they haven't been particularly subtle about it either.
It really gave me Encounter at Farpoint vibes, as far as when it just did. Like as soon as you go in there, as soon as Troy went in there, she just boom felt it, And of course, when she feels it, Will feels it. They just didn't really make it that clear, but if you know, you kind of know. But I'm not saying it's the same thing. But if we're dealing with oversized organisms, then it did kind of give me Encounter at Farpoint vibes, even though they've been long dead. So if that's them when they're dead, what are they when they're alive?
Right.
Okay. So let's get started with the first question. Let's see how this goes. So Jet suggests rather ruefully that Adira is now attracted to Detmer. And of course, we know that's not necessarily the case. But in what ways do we think this pairing is going to give us? Like, what's going to happen between these two?
I think Adira is looking to learn from Detmer more self-confidence, and how Detmer manages to exude self-confidence in crisis situations. And I think that's something that Adira doesn't seem to be really good at. A lot of times you see her kind of getting stressed out when things are really panicky on the ship. And so I think that's what she's looking for. And I think it'll probably be good for both of them, because granted, we haven't seen a lot of the bridge crew do different things and get involved in stuff.
With the exception of Magic Awushkun, who is always, if there's a random skill you need, Polo's got it.
Right. But I think what I've gotten from her is that she's kind of a loner to a certain degree. And I mean, we even see that in this episode where she's sitting alone at a table in the, 10 forward equivalent, when Adira approaches her at the end and asks if she can join her. So that's just kind of the sense that I've got of Detmer, is that she's kind of a loner. So maybe it'll be good for both of them.
Well, I don't know about that.
Documented like friendship with Owo, like
right.
They I mean, even to the point when Burnham,
that's true.
Like when everything was on fire.
That's true.
Owo and Detmer, paired off, and they paired off really frequently in their off hours.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I will say this. I do think there is something up with the Adira Gray pairing. I'm not entirely sure that the separation is doing them any good. So it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that Adira's got a little bit of a crush there. And I think Danger's right that part of that is a little bit of hero worship, because they have lost their mentor aboard Discovery, because Tilly is now at Starfleet Academy. So Adira's kind of at loose ends, and then she has the world's most awkward dad figure to deal with.
Well, she has 2 father figures.
I was getting there because everybody. I would love to have had Culber as my dad. Let's talk about that, because he's amazing.
No, I would not.
Really?
I would not want him as my dad.
You sure about that?
I am positive I wouldn't want him as my dad.
No, I want to know why now.
Maybe not.
Because if he was my dad, then off limits.
Well, we in the South.
I knew this was going to come down.
I mean, you knew,
Awesome.
like, I wasn't going
Because
to
it always
stay quiet
comes
about it
down to
forever.
Wilson Cruz's hotness.
What's that, William?
What'd you say?
You knew I wasn't going to stay quiet about it forever. Like,
But Jermaine beat you to it.
he did, but he tried to cover it up. He opened a can of God and thought he tried to put it back in there. No, it's too late now. It's too late. No, we here. There's more than one way to reference someone as daddy.
But William,
hell, we could talk about this shit all night long. I'm just
excuse me. I need some bourbon right now.
I'm always out of water. But
William, maybe about 2 minutes ago, you were. I think it was Marie that was talking. It was like it was clear that you wanted to say something, but you didn't. Do you remember what that was?
Or has Wilson Cruz just taken over your mind?
Probably.
I mean,
that is the face of someone who's picturing Wilson Cruz.
That is beside the point. That is beside the point. Well, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about cooking a steak on Wilson Cruz's abs right now. And
we're losing danger. We're losing danger. We're losing danger.
I'm sorry. Like,
I'm all right.
And then me honestly imagining Jermaine calling him daddy for no damn reason at a Star Trek convention. Like,
no, that's the exact opposite.
And then and then Marie losing it, Danger shaking his head, me covering Jermaine's mouth, Manny fascinated by all of it. Like, just I probably shouldn't speak right now. Marie, you take the floor.
I've already discussed my feelings on the Detmer thing, but I do actually want to go back and talk a little bit about Danger's assertion that this would be good for both of them, and I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
Because as awkward as Adira is, y'all fly good.
Right. I love Detmer's response there. No, we will bring this up every day.
Yep.
That was a perfect
but it would be nice. It would really be nice for Detmer to get the opportunity to come a little bit out of her shell. I do sort of like how her PTSD plays into the solution. If I can jump a little, I really like that. It's not wholly a liability because she's the only one who's able to compartmentalize enough in order to manage to get through, the Discovery, Michael Burnham and the Raiders of the Lost Ark moment that they've got going on down there.
Right. You know what? I got a comment here on that planet and the inside of that structure that they were on. That was just so visually stunning to me. The artwork there, the design of that whole nursery, I guess is what we're calling it now. I just thought it looked very cinematic, very cool.
And very
sort
alien.
of reminded me of Alien a little bit.
Yeah, like
some Alien vibes
kind
there.
Of was like,
and
any minute now, a xenomorph is going to walk out, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not really comfortable with xenomorphs in my Star Trek. Like,
I know.
Okay, you know what, Danger? I'm gonna let you finish because I got something.
Okay. Yeah, no. And the only other thing I was going to say is that it kind of evoked for me some of the early comic book science fiction covers too, with the astronauts in spacesuits on a strange world, and all the different colors and stuff. But I really,
can we talk
love
about like the Power Walk abreast?
Yes,
that they did
out of as they're leaving Discovery.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
I mean, I was just like, we are literally watching all of those amazing 80s movies. Like, somebody needs shades and somebody needs an explosion. Like, that's all we need.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, William, I have talked over everybody. So
like Horatio came on CSI Miami.
But you know what? I never realized that Captain Burnham was so short.
Oh, you did.
Sonequa Martin Green is tiny.
Huh? What's that?
Sonequa Martin Green is tiny.
Not tinier than Adira, but
tiny. Well, right. Adira is.
I mean, she's
very tiny.
I've always kind of discounted it whenever she's talking to Saru because he'd make anybody look short. But But seeing the four of them walking down the hall, I'm like, oh man, she's short.
And Doug Jones is legit in lifts and
Oh my
you know,
God.
like whatever
Yeah.
that whole thing is to give him like a hoof look.
Now, Marie, talking about his shoes, I have a question.
I may or may not have an answer.
All right. And this actually is for everybody to weigh in on. So
I'm going to remind you, I have COVID brain fog. So
that's all right. When they're down on the planet, right, and Saru gets that hydrocarbons into his suit from walking through that blue dust, right?
That bugged me.
And then Colbert says he gets it, or Colbert, however you say it.
Although I would pay good money to see Colbert on Discovery.
I know. Wouldn't he be awesome? But then Colbert gets it, he says, when he knelt down into the... Why didn't he get it through his shoes too?
Right? The only thing I
just been on
he got on his knee. He got on his knee, and that's when he got it.
Right. But why if Saru could walk through it and get it through his shoes?
Again,
the only thing I can figure is that there's something about... So first off, all right, can we have a moment? Because that bugged me. That bugged me a lot. Sure. Because these are literally supposed to be EVA suits, right?
Right. They should be blocking out everything that's not oxygen.
Yes.
By default.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this, I mean, the only thing I can figure with respect to Saru's feet, and, you know, the foot fetish has never been on my list of things. So, like, this is literally the only time I've been called to speculate on that. So thanks, Danger, for taking it to the weird land.
My pleasure.
Is that perhaps there's just something more sensitive about Saru's foot structure? It may not actually be a hoof in quite the same way.
That could be, because it's obviously a different kind of a shoe that he's in.
Oh yeah,
and more of his weight would be concentrated in a smaller area than, say, a human foot.
Because let's be real, if you're going to go to the effort of hiring Doug Jones, you're going to take advantage of the fact that you can squeeze that man into anything,
any shape,
because he's like, I don't know, 6.5 feet tall and weighs about 5 pounds.
Right.
So honestly, y'all, I think that, at least with respect to Colbert, I think that it's a simple explanation. So once he knelt down, he's the blue thing, whatever, the hydrocarbon, whatever it is, it's in certain places. And let's just say his knee was on the blue part, the hydrocarbon part, whereas his feet weren't. That's all.
I can accept
to me,
that. That makes sense.
That's simple. And I
sort of feel like this is Star Trek magic.
And also, if we're talking about emotions might not necessarily be something that can, be easily filtered through an EV suit. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's not something, if it's something that you've not come in contact with. Because remember, there was a scene when they basically once they isolated it, then they could shut it off. They just never come in contact with it before.
So I guess my question is are you saying that these are literally distilled emotions? Because
well, that's what they said in this episode.
I know. And
16 different emotions.
That also really bugged me, because I'm just like, how in the hell do you distill? I mean, okay, Star Trek magic.
Waxana.
Different galaxy.
Well, and they talked about how some of the species that we know even here on Earth, like the bees and the wolves, communicate using pheromones, right?
Right, and I'm willing to accept that. I am, but like the way they structured it, the way they structured this, makes no sense.
Well, it's outside our galaxy. It's a whole different.
Star Trek is magic. Yeah, no, again, like that's fine. And I'm really kind of interested in how they're going to shape this into a useful communicative tool.
Oh, I know.
Right?
I know how they're going to do it.
Do tell.
I'm here for it.
So
take center stage, Danger.
I gave this some thought tonight,
Uh-oh.
And here's what I think.
Everybody, be very
So-
careful. There's thinking involved.
Right. So they've got these 16 different configurations of hydrocarbons that make different emotions, right?
Mhm.
And I think what it's going to come down to is that they're going to have to figure out a way to use these different hydrocarbons to send a message to the aliens. And I think the message that's going to do it is, so when the landing party's on the planet and they get these hydrocarbons into their suit, they start visualizing the last moments of species 10C when the asteroids were raining down on their home planet, killing them,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And the traumatic fear and panic emotions that were in that. So I think what's going to happen is that Discovery is going to use that same thing to convey to species 10C the emotions that Booker felt when he lost his entire world. And not only that, but the emotions he felt at losing his nephew. Because we saw in this show tonight that species 10C
Right.
How they care for
value
their
children.
Right.
I'm wagering that's what's going
I
to
have
get
no doubt that
the
that's true.
aliens.
Like,
What's
I have
that?
no doubt that that's true. But can we step back for a second
Yes.
and like talk about how that would work as language?
Mhm.
Using emotion as language. We need Troy. Bring her
Well,
up
they
here.
Right.
Bring her
said
here.
in the show something about that emotions not only tell a story but also provide context.
Right.
Well, that's
And
why
I
they
love
went to the
this. I
planet.
love this as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Okay. I love this as a metaphor. Sort of like I love the concept of, the Temerian language as
Yeah.
a metaphor. However, in terms of an actual communicative language within a utility, it just doesn't work. Because how on earth are you going to build a warp drive and convey mathematical concepts
Right.
in emotions? I mean, for me,
Well,
that would be sheer terror and misery, right?
Well-
Like, I mean, I could distill that from my
Well-
for my geometry and college calculus classes.
Wait, what was the name of that? I'm sorry, William, you were about to talk. Please go.
Just quick thing. Marie said, "How on earth?" Okay. And we all established that we are nowhere near Earth right now.
Thank you.
William.
Kansas, no
no.
bitch.
By the way,
No,
now
no.
this is a different concept, totally different. It's not about emotion, but remember, I forget the name of the species that spoke. It was Captain Picard, and
I was
This
thinking
is the
about that.
Temerians.
The Temerians, yeah.
They speak in
And so-
images.
The
You know what
Lock
I'm
and Jalad at Tanagra.
Mhm.
so
Darmok.
they communicated through stories, right? And so it's not the same thing. All I'm saying is that once
Yeah.
we understand how someone communicates, that then makes communication so much better.
Right.
I am not arguing. I'm really not arguing, which is right. And I get that they're very different. And
You're
and,
just
and again,
arguing-
I understand the metaphor that they're going for here.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that they make the link between language and culture and the necessity of context. I think
Mhm.
that's fantastic. And I think it's something that gets dropped a lot.
Right.
I'm just talking about
How
the
do you
whole issue.
convey complex concepts using only emotion?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
And I get that. But
I mean, if you try to
the
seriously,
crew-
again, like how are you going to communicate to somebody Planck's constant
sure.
with a myth?
Right.
Write it down. Write it down.
And to be fair,
Mathematics is
to be
universal.
fair, we never actually see
this is
what the
maybe
Temerian
this is an
written language is.
oversized xenomorphic what's the word I was going to use? Instinctual species. That's just it. And maybe
Well-
they were born with certain abilities like species 8472. I don't know. Like
Anyway, we're getting abroad because like I
Well, and the other thing,
as someone who has done a not inconsequential number of study of language and how language develops and how we use language, I find this fascinating just from a there's no way this would work standpoint. But again, I really love the metaphor that again is part of this whole. If we put context with it, then we understand better. And when we understand, we are able to reach out more effectively and create those communities that have been the focus of season 3.
Right. Well, and
I'm just not letting go of this, y'all. Just not letting go.
Hey, we can take it to opposite tracks. We can do it.
And what we don't know is if this hydrocarbon emotional dust is the only way the aliens communicate. It may be, I mean, because we communicate with language, but we also communicate with body language, facial muscle changes and stuff like that. So this could be just one way, like maybe body language is to us. So maybe it's not the primary way the aliens communicate, but
and it may be as simple as it's just how they communicate with their young.
Very possible.
Yeah, because at that point that was a giant incubator thing that they were in.
Right.
And on top of that, they were dead.
Right.
It probably stands to reason that, with a corpse, which is pretty much what they were surrounded with, they were probably dealing with what Voyager was dealing with. You remember when they came across that one planet and it really was technology that kind of did it. But if it's that same concept, and it's plausible, but because we don't know.
I'm not willing to head into the direction of plausibility here. Like, I'm just not. I cannot follow you down this rabbit hole. I cannot.
Now, my other question.
I like that. I like that as a concept. I do like this as a concept. That you would communicate with your young through pure emotion. I think that's pretty cool. Just as a concept. So that is neat.
Yeah, I like that. And wouldn't it be awesome if Discovery, with all of their advanced now, what's the matter?
No, I was trying to remember who posited that this was how they communicated exclusively with their young, and so and it turned. I gave credit to William, but I shouldn't.
It was William. But wouldn't it be awesome? Discovery, with all of their advanced knowledge and technology, they go to talk to this species, and they're talking to them with the equivalent of baby language.
I mean, that's literally what would happen.
Yeah, right. Now, the other question.
What would happen. And this is actually one of the things that William and I talked about on an FTP episode, because one of the things that just makes me insanely angry in Enterprise is that nobody really appreciates what Hoshi brings to the table.
Right.
Because she's literally writing an algorithm on the freaking fly that will that will translate these alien languages, and these are alien languages, guys. Like, there's no commonality.
Right.
I mean, concepts just don't exist. And she's doing it on the fly. And that's, and even if you look at Rosetta, right, the Rosetta Stone, even understanding 2 of the other 3 languages, breaking hieroglyphs down took years.
It did.
It took years, because what he had to do was and he literally starts with the cartouche, because he figures out that that's going to be maybe that's important, maybe that's going to be a proper name, and that's where he started. Yeah, it's called a cartouche, literally, the thing that they put circles around major names.
Right.
Oh, okay, cartouche. Okay, it sounded like it meant butt.
Now,
sorry, I came to this directly from having started Picard's first episode, and every time this man speaks French, it hurts my soul.
No spoilers. I have not seen it yet.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. But like, occasionally, Patrick Stewart is called upon to list like Jean-Luc Picard's family members. It's awful. It's awful.
I mean, I low-key think if they did that, because obviously, you've seen it, I think they did that on purpose.
No, I think he's just that bad.
I think at this point it was just bad in Next Generation. Now he's just like, ha.
Oh no. Bad was episode 1 of Star Trek Picard, season 1.
That was bad.
That was heinous. And I'm just like, that's not even grammatically correct. Like, what are you doing?
Now, I thought he did a great French accent when he was on, what was that?
Stardust City Rag?
Yes.
When they were trying so desperately to do like Ocean's 11.
Right.
So when he was faking it, it was good. When he was being serious, it was bad.
Right.
I gotta tell you, like I've known a lot of French people. They do not sound like that when they speak English, but it was really funny.
Okay, let's keep this train moving. Let's go to our next question. All right. So basically, and I think it was Danger that kind of hit up on it. So is Discovery on a path toward full character development, especially for their B characters? Is that what we're seeing?
I'd see that they're trying. I mean, because what we've seen in episodic episodes, they usually get whole episodes to themselves, 2, 3, 4, if they're lucky, 6 out of the season. The Troy episode, the Riker episode, the 7 of 9 episode, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Well, what we're seeing in Discovery, they get like 5 minutes to tell their childhood traumatic story, and then boom, that's it. The answer is yes or no. Yes and no with me. Yes, in the sense that we know a little bit about them. No, as in hell no. I'm leaning towards the no from a film production point of view. You can tell me what happened when you were in wherever you were from. That might tell me how you might make your decisions today, but that doesn't tell me anything about you. And so, and I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's just like one childhood story is not going to make me know who you are. That's just going to make me know something about your past. Like, that's it. And a lot of these stories have like an ongoing theme. Something bad happened. They made his decision. Now they never do anything close to that again. They blah, 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 blah. And I'm not disregarding what they've gone through, but I don't know anything about them. I don't even know half their names. I forgot the woman's name was Detmer until I saw her. I called her 7 of 9 from Wish. Like, like I said, Detmer who? And who's that Asian motherfucker? Who are you? Who are you?
Okay, to be fair,
that's Reese. The Asian guy is Reese.
Who?
Reese. His name is Reese.
I know is Kyle Reese from Terminator. Or Reese's that I eat. That's it. I don't even know who the black dude's name that left last episode. I don't even know.
Bryce. We talked about this.
Bryce B with a B like boy.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know nothing about him.
I do agree. I do agree with the point that William is making a little strangely, my friend. But
where am I not?
But I get where you're going with this. Is that and I suspect this is actually why Jermaine asks this question, is because Discovery has been awful about using the bridge characters.
Yep.
Until this point.
Agreed.
We've had flashes. Like I said, OO is magic, apparently. So we get that. We met Irium just long enough for her to die.
It's always at the last minute.
Which again, and that was not one of season 2's best efforts. Let's be real, because it was very obviously trying to build her up into something and elicit an emotional response out of the audience, and there's just no investment there.
No,
like there's no reason for us to be invested in Irium. All we know is that it probably took 8 hours to put that poor lady in that makeup.
Right.
But I do think they're trying. The problem is we can talk about it and compare it to like TNG and 90s era Trek, but 90s era Trek had 27 episodes a season.
And they had
time. They had time.
Yeah. Although I think this episode specifically is one of the first ones where I really have been very frustrated with the pacing and the writing, because I think fully half of this episode could have been chucked in the bin.
I actually agree with you on that.
Because the whole business with Tarka and Book, and then, first off, I really want to watch, beyond the fact that I would like to watch Tarka have to square off with Jet Reno.
Yes.
I would watch 45 minutes of that. Not gonna lie. But that whole business and like are we going to go onto Discovery? Are we going to sneak around? We are little mice. Dude, why?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing is that they were filling time. And I'm like, wait a minute. You could have used that whatever 20, 25 minutes so much better. You could have flashed us to dealing with, like having a whole conversation about how Detmer has been processing her PTSD. Like, we know she has it. She went to Culber for it, and that's the only thing we've seen. So they literally could have taken that and given us a whole lot more time with Kayla Detmer's character.
Well, and Tarka hasn't even put the patch into the computer system. So Book's ship is out there, presumably somewhere close to Discovery, close,
stalking them. Yeah,
and Discovery's not detecting it.
It's also, can we have a conversation about this? Because in the Galactic Barrier, last episode, Book and Tarka were still in Alpha Quadrant, and now
they've caught up.
How?
Right.
How? It took us an entire episode to cross from bubble to bubble.
Yeah, but I heard that Tarka's ship is so fast it actually made the Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
Well done. Well done.
Jermaine's looking like, what the hell's he talking about? You're not a Star Wars fan?
No.
Oh, no. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's a Star Wars reference to the
It is, and it's even better because parsecs are actually a unit of time,
right?
And they're not a unit of speed or distance. So yeah.
Well, so there was another time.
This has been the first episode of the season that has just made me mad. Which, let's be real, is not a bad track record for Discovery season.
So there was another.
Track record.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There was another time. I forget who it was who was talking to Burnham, and Burnham's response was, "Yeah, this is never going to happen on this ship." And what she was meaning, again, what she was meaning was basically, at least that's how I interpreted it, was gone are the days where I, meaning Burnham, is going to save the day. Like, not all of the accolades are not going to fall on me. It's going to be about us. It's going to be about we. And so if I hear that, and if I hear it correctly, especially because of what I'm seeing them slowly do, and we know there's going to be another season. My assumption is, especially if they want to build a drama, if they want new aspects of it to be built in, then what they ought to do is they ought to build these characters. And maybe by even starting slowly, we get some insight, just a little nugget of their backstory, so that by next season, they can flesh that out just a little bit.
It would be nice. It would be nice because we've got the actors themselves clearly have some talent, because every time that they get a moment to shine, it's fantastic. Like, LaDeja has, and I'm sure I'm butchering that, and I apologize, has just been fantastic every time that she gets a moment to shine. Every single time she literally just steals it.
Agreed.
Despite the fact that they give her some
William is like, I don't even know who you're talking about. Tell me who you're talking about.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know. Look, I done got too old and too fat to bullshit anymore. I'm sorry if I don't know who the hell.
Oh
Couldn't take it.
Oh my god. And Danger's over here like, what have I gotten?
I'm sorry.
You have no Roy to save you.
I am not going to fake it. Like, what you want me to say? Who?
I want you to name all the bridge crew.
Bro, if I were to describe these people, I will sound galactus, racist, specious, and xenophobic as hell. I'm sorry. I can't.
Now, I do have to ask, do you remember the name of the Saurian?
Who?
His name is Linus.
Yeah.
Linus,
the lizard guy.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah. He's a freaking lizard, my dude.
The one that eyes do this?
Yeah.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah.
That's Linus.
I would have called him side eyes.
Side eyes.
Like his eyes just like I'm going like King Triton just strikes you on a bad day. Like
William, now you're being speciesist.
Yes.
I am being speciesist or speciesist or whatever. I am sorry. I am literally, there's an FTP episode just for William. That's how much help I need. Like, I don't know.
We had
You
already
can't
had
put me
that
on that
episode.
ship because I'd be like, who's that side eye motherfucker that sent that something? And every time he farts, he transports into the engineering section. Who the hell farts and then gets transported somewhere by accident? I am confusion. I need context.
Oh my god, my
I need
mascara
a
is gonna
bologna
run.
sandwich. I'm sorry.
Now, I do like the fact that Lieutenant Nielsen got to take over the con,
Yeah, she did last episode
right?
as well.
So that's kind of good that they're giving her more
He's
responsibility.
He's like, who are you talking about?
This
This is the white girl with the blonde hair. The
Right.
white girl with the blonde hair.
Yes.
Do you know how many of those are? Well,
No,
They're
no,
not
no,
that
no.
many.
that was played by the android in the other season, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Who was
Oh,
Lieutenant Arium?
I
Nielsen's
don't know
actor
nothing about her.
Nielsen's
nothing
actor has
about-
not
well, no,
actually
no,
gotten the
I don't think we
opportunity
know
to have
anything
this
about
kind
her.
of this number of lines since she died.
I would have remembered her character much better if they took her DNA, genesised her ass, and made a Spock character out of her, and then boom, we got a new her, except she's all whole and shit. Now I would have remembered her if they done that. Like, but they I'm sorry. I
I'm
can't
sorry.
wait. I'm sorry. Look,
So William,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
you need to go get
I
some
tend
water,
to
my
pay
friend.
attention
I think you need
to-
some water. Like
I do. Can I get some water?
Yes,
Like-
yes. I tend to pay attention to the people who most people don't pay attention to. For instance, that's part of the reason why I loved Aurora so much, because she was always there. Her presence was always there, but she never really got that shine. And so as a result, I pay attention to those characters, especially in Star Trek.
except when she had that really awkward singing duet with Spock. That just sort of comes in the middle of nowhere. Yep.
Not episode 1.
No.
Season 1.
No.
No,
It was a
what she
later
was saying.
episode.
There's later on. And I wish Roy were here
Yeah,
because
Charlie
he would
X.
remember the episode title, even though I do not. Do you, Danger?
Charlie X.
Might have been. I think it was
Ooh.
actually. It was because Charlie X wanders in and
Yeah.
interrupts the entire thing.
And she
That's right.
sings and kind of embarrasses him, and he goes running out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, last question.
Oh my god, it's 43 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
Last question.
Jet is a prisoner.
And I thought I was doing
Ooh.
horrible. Not that I gave a damn, but like I was just like,
All right, ask your question.
It's on the
So,
screen.
We find out that Jet is a
Oh,
prisoner. What is about to happen in this next episode, y'all? Not only what's going to happen with the verbal assaults, but I need to know, like, how is this going to progress the storyline? Like, it's got to.
I think
I just don't know how.
I have a
I think
confession.
Reno's going to be the conscience for Book.
I have a confession.
I think she's going to talk him into stopping Tarka.
I think he's
And-
already halfway there. Like, I really do. I mean, even after that whole conversation he has with Ndoye, I really think he's halfway there. And I already, and despite the worm and fuzzies we got in the Galactic Barrier, where they really tried to convince us that we should feel some sympathy for that asshole.
Yeah.
I think Book is already aware
Right.
of like the ticking time bomb that is that.
Now, all I can
narcissistic
say is,
creature.
if that motherfucker has not updated his computer system to be able to lock Tarka out of control,
Stop.
then he's out.
And you know,
Say
he
that
has-
again.
Say that again.
Say that again.
If that motherfucker has not updated his computers on his ship to lock Tarka out, I'm gonna be furious.
And you know he
Furious.
hasn't. You know he hasn't. You know that has not.
I will
occurred
be
to him.
furious.
You know he hasn't.
William can't take it.
But
Jermaine
also,
can't
but
take
also I did love the line. You know, it's great. What is it? It's great to come back to a surprise hospital.
VR. He went VR.
We've totally lost him.
Man, fuck this shit. I'm out.
This may be our most profane review.
Oh God, they're gonna cancel our ass. Man, when he said motherfucker, it's like Rose going off on Dorothy for the first time. I'm sorry. And to think, what I was actually going to say before was I was going to make another joke. I said I actually have a confession for Father Danger down there. Like,
you do look a little monastic, my friend.
I just need a little white collar here.
I was going to tell him I had 12 minutes left on the episode before I came here. And so I actually blurted out of my head. That's why y'all saw me look down a lot. Like, okay, spoiler. I already know where it's gonna go, but I can't tell you what's gonna happen next. But I do agree that they still need to work on character development. And I do agree with Marie. The episode dragged in the sense of writing. I noticed it. And I know we're backtracking, but I noticed it with the relic. Well, the devil, and this is gonna sound racist as hell. The Asian motherfucker,
the linguist.
He's a linguist.
Kanagawa.
Dr. Ariam or something. What's his name?
Hirai Kanagawa.
Oh, I can't pronounce that one.
Okay. That's the actor's name, right?
See, I'm good.
Wasn't he on Lost? The TV show Lost?
I mean, he's been a character. He's been a character actor.
Yeah, Dr.
Forever.
Dr. Hirai. Hirai.
Hirai Kanagawa.
Okay.
Him. And even though
also to all Japanese speakers, I profoundly apologize for my terrible accent.
It's fine. I appreciated the conversation that they had, but I didn't feel like it was necessary to show us.
The only thing that I can think is that it's leading us to something that's going to happen.
It's like, and even if it's leading us to something, like it's a ship full of smartasses. We know it's a ship full of smartasses.
I mean, that's like
literally why we keep coming back. So, like, did we actually need another smartass?
Well, I don't know that he's a smartass. I just think he's almost like Elnor. He's almost like Elnor with the absolute
inappropriate. Okay.
Absolute candor. He just says what he's really thinking with no filter.
Although I gotta tell you, like, I mean, I do think he's a smartass because I legitimately think that if you work a long time with COVID, you have to be a smartass or he'll eat you alive.
Now,
and also, like, can we have a side tangent about how amazing that character is and how great, like, every time he shows up, I'm just like, yes, something really weird's gonna come out of his mouth.
This last episode wasn't a great episode for him, in my opinion. However, I will say this. I think that what's his name? Dr. Hirai.
Yeah.
All right. So I loved last episode and this episode because he's a badass waiting to just explode.
Right. So I think he's going to be the one that's going to figure out the Rosetta Stone aspect of the communication.
I mean, that's literally why he's there.
Yeah.
Like that's his specialty. Like, Burnham's a xenoarchaeologist or an anthropologist, but like he's a language nerd.
Now let me ask you guys a what if.
He might actually be a language super nerd.
What if, in addition to Book sending transmitting his emotional hydrocarbons to the aliens over his feelings of the loss of Quajon and his nephew?
Excuse me, I need to giggle a minute over emotional hydrocarbons because it's really dumb. It's still dumb.
Yeah. What if Tarka does the same thing and conveys to the alien his sense of loss of that companion of his from his time with the Emerald Chain and convinces the aliens to use their superpower technology to send him to his paradise universe?
2 words.
That's interesting.
2 words. Good riddance.
I thought you were going to say bullshit.
No. It came very close. It was. Look at me. I'm being good because it was really close to good fucking riddance. Get rid of him.
So I will say this. So because Book is an empath, there's a part of me that believes that because they're able to sense the feelings, emotions the way that
Right.
they do, that there's a part of me, a small part of me that thinks that Book will be able to communicate with them just a little bit better than
Yeah.
the rest of them. Even perhaps even Saru might be
Mhm.
able to communicate
Mhm.
with them a little better than a lot of the others that we see assembled there.
Yeah.
It seems like Saru is good
Again,
at
because we've
receiving.
got to justify having David Ayala in like as a major character. I'm not
Agreed.
complaining because he definitely beautifies my screen every time he comes on. But yeah, like I mean, we've got to have some reason.
Which, by the way, Marie loves to say this. Something that I didn't like, something that I'm still struggling with, is the fact that Bryce is not on the show.
Right.
So Bryce is a linguist. Bryce knows a number of languages all by himself, right? That's his job. And the fact that he's not on the ship, they're they're staying back in Federation space to figure out how to communicate with them.
Why?
They're there.
Why?
That's exactly where he should be. He should be on the ship right now. So I don't like
because I'm pretty sure the actor got really tired of not having lines.
Oh, he damn sure ain't gonna get no lines now. I'm sorry. I would have been a happy Wesley on that ship. I'm sorry. I never said give me any lines when I wanted to be on a Star Trek show. I just said put me on a Star Trek show. I never said anything about lines. Matter of fact, just having my face, you know what that means? That is called job security. Because you saw me for an entire show, that means I'm going to be on the next show as a Klingon.
Not just
Okay.
that, like there's a possibility that this show might go to the movies. Possibility.
Yeah.
Well, and because Paramount Plus has actually been shifting to putting full-length feature films on its streaming service, so it's entirely possible that yeah, you're right. But I mean, going back to the first thing Danger actually said about the cinematic beauty of this episode is one of those things that sort of reminds me that we're in a renaissance of
Yeah.
Star Trek
Sci-fi.
because it's no longer just a quarry or foam rocks. I mean,
Right.
like this episode, despite being stupid, dripped money.
Yeah. Well, and I was noticing too.
Not by like George Lucas, I'm going to drive a truck full of money up and set it on fire to show you that I'm mildly serious about something levels, but like very close.
I was even noticing, I was watching because I actually watched the episode twice. Watched it the first time just to kind of enjoy it, and the second time to kind of look at the cinematography and kind of just take that whole thing in. And I was even noticing, they use that virtual wraparound studio that they're in, right, with the big screen, so they can put the background on the screen. And so I was looking for that and the reflections on the colors on their suits and things like that, and even on their hair and faces when they're doing different things. And yeah, it was just really stunning. It was so
they did really well.
Yeah, it seemed so much better than just the green screen technology, which is amazing in and of itself. But now with this whole volume thing that wraps around them, that turns the entire sound studio into whatever world they want it to be, it's just blows me away when I see it.
And they can do so much other. I have to admit though, Discovery really overuses color filters when they're on an exterior shoot and it's supposed to be an alien world. Like when they went to Iceland in the first episode, I was just kind of like, you can't just turn it blue, y'all. Like
right.
we know where that is, and like this was a random. I'm guessing Vancouver, like a random location in Vancouver that they just turned like for last episode when they were at the like work camp. It was just a sepia filter. So we'll have moments like I don't understand this. We'll have moments like the ones you're describing where it's just amazing and it takes your breath away.
Yeah.
And then we go to a sepia filter? What?
Right. Yeah.
I kind of noticed that when Book and Tarka, see, I know their names.
Well done. Well done. You major characters.
Thank you. Well, you're right. And went to the ex prison that Tarka spent 10 years at, and there was like this weird weird filter right over them, and I was like, now I understand that this is the 32nd century. We are not anywhere near where we were in terms of other Trek films and movies and shows and whatever. But I need some context in explaining why is there this fade right over them. It makes me feel like that there's this ugly filter in front of the camera, and it kind of bugged my inner camera eyes. It bugged me.
That's literally what it is. That's literally what it is. It's a, they literally put a sheet of sepia colored cellophane over the lens.
See, that's overdoing it. That's overdoing it. That's too much. That's too much. I'm sorry. I mean, it doesn't negate the whole show for me, but it does. Like I said, from a filmmaker's perspective, I'm like, no, let them.
Again, it's like the juxtaposition's really weird. It's really weird for me.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like I let Star Trek get away with it when Enterprise was destroying the spheres. Remember when they all turned red and their skin was breaking out? I gave that one a pass because it was 2005. They were going in a place where they shouldn't have been in terms of health conditions. I let all that slide. But these are environments where we're not, half of these aren't even outside of the galaxy yet. And they're just using, I'm just saying I've noticed them. That's all.
And they've done it before. They've done it before throughout Discovery's run. But like this season, it just is really repetitive. And even with the fact that I'm watching these week to week, it's still striking me every time I see it. I'm just like, this again? Wow. I just want to make it clear, I really like Discovery. And I think they've done a lot of really awesome stuff, despite all the things that have come out of my mouth today.
All right.
And that's on brain fog? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. Blame the COVID, guys. Just blame the COVID.
Blame the COVID. All right, guys. It seems like we have come to the end of this. We've arrived at our destination. We've arrived 1 hour later. Talk about time and Picard. Oh my God. Speaking of Picard, y'all, tomorrow we are going to be live. We are going to be live tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. William is going to be with us. We will hopefully have Manny. Danger, will you be there with us?
Tomorrow night. I will try. We actually have some friends coming over, but maybe I could just tell them I need to be out for an hour.
Everybody, like, pay attention. Star Trek nerds have friends.
Now, my only question for tomorrow night, then, William, is will you know the bridge crew's names?
No.
On Picard.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Also,
look, he would know.
William, I know you can hear me. Repeat after me. Laris.
Okay.
Eleanor.
Paris.
I mean, he knows 7. He knows
Paris,
7.
France.
No, honey. Laris, not Paris.
I think we
Different
lost
letter.
We lost it.
And you can't tell me that you do not appreciate the beauty of Santiago Cabrera.
Oh.
Are you talking about the ship's captain?
Yes, I'm talking about Rios.
Okay. Yeah. But he's not. He ain't no Wilson Cruz. I'm just saying.
Okay, nobody else is Wilson Cruz.
Different flavor.
I hope to get there before I turn 30. But like it's just oh damn, that's something that came out wrong.
Look, let's end this and we'll continue talking afterwards.
All right.
No. On that note, we need to go to the credits. On that note, because
live
I'm
long
going
and
to
prosper.
eviscerate.
Like, share, comment, do all that other good stuff. Tell everyone about us. We'll see you all tomorrow at 8:30.